Let me ask you this, how would you like to make some money while you sleep? Like literally. Dividend investing is one of the easiest ways to make passive income, or what people like to call these days free cash flow.
Cash flow.
Free cash flow. Cash flow.
And yeah, it's that simple. You're just buying a dividend paying stock or ETF, and you're being paid either monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. But wait, dividends are not guaranteed. The company decides whether to pay dividends or not. And yeah, you're absolutely right, that's the case. The company decides whether to pay you dividend or not. That's why in this video, we're gonna be talking particularly about dividend paying ETFs. Meaning that anytime a company decides to stop paying dividend, like in case of Disney recently, an ETF can just drop it or replace it with another dividend paying stock. So the only way that you're actually not going to get paid a dividend is if an ETF ceases to exist, and the chances for that are, well, minimal. So let me take you through my brain, and I'm going to show you how I do research for dividend paying ETFs. But before I do that, let me tell you this, or let me remind you this, that the millionaires are made during bad times like this. And right now, we're into a bear market, and some say it can last from several months to a couple of years maybe, or even more. And some say that we might see the biggest drop in the market prices, and that's when the opportunity like this comes, and you need to be prepared, first with your cash, and second, well, with knowledge, knowing where to invest. So you need to do your research before that and already know where you're gonna put your money. And maybe start dollar cost averaging if you think that the market is not gonna go any more down, or it's just gonna fluctuate over time. Or if you expect a bigger drop, then just wait and be ready with your cash. So first things first, since we invest for... No, kitty. So first things first, since we invest for return, or free cash flow, or passive income, or whatever you want to call it, one of the most important things for us is yield, of course, or return on our investment. In this case, we're talking about dividend yield, and dividend yield is a percentage that a company pays out as dividends per dollar you invest. Now let's say that you have $1,000 to invest, and a company's stock price is $100 at the moment. That means that you can buy 10 stocks worth $100 each, and the company pays 5% in dividend yield on its stock. So now you're getting paid $5 per stock every year, or $50 total, right? But let's say that a company's stock price drops $50 for whatever reason. Now you're able to buy 20 stocks, and that company's stock can recover to the previous high of $100, and it's still paying 5%, right? So now you have 20 shares and each pay you 5%. So you're basically doubling your dividend income here. So the timing of when you purchase a stock also matters. If it's some quick drop in the stock price that the company can quickly recover from, you can get a good deal on your investment, because you're gonna get more stocks that pay you the same amount, and considering the fact that it's not gonna affect the dividend yield, because most of the time quick drops in price and quick recoveries are not going to affect it that much. Unless it drops and stays there, that might affect the company's performance, and they might think of reducing the dividend payout. So where do you actually research for dividend paying ETFs? Well, there are multiple websites that offer the research, but one of my favorite is etfdb.com. So we're going to click on ETF screener, and then here we have asset class. So the first thing that I do, I choose equity, because there are multiple dividend paying ETFs that can have bonds, commodities, or some other stuff, but I don't like any of that stuff. I personally prefer to have equity, because this is the ETFs that own stocks of other companies. So after that, what you're gonna do, you're gonna scroll here to expenses and dividends, and you're gonna select the dividend yield, and I usually select the range between 2.5% to about 8%. And even 8 is probably a little bit higher. And you're gonna say, what are you doing? Are you crazy? You can go all the way to 27%. The higher the better, right? No, not exactly the case. And that brings me to my second point, which is stock appreciation and dividend trap. It all goes hand in hand with dividend yield. And most of the time when a company or an ETF offers unreasonably high dividend, it's called dividend trap. Dividend trap is when a company decides to distribute a huge portion of its profits to the shareholders in form of dividends. And that usually is very unsustainable. The stock price might drop because once the company releases financial statements, that everybody will see that there's no way this company can sustain for long, which brings down the stock price, and in turns, the company is not able to pay any more dividends because they already paid out a lot. So to avoid that, it's better to stick with the range that I mentioned, because 2.5%, we don't want it to be lower than that, because some good ETFs are paying at least 2.5%, but we also don't want to go super high, and even in this case, 8% is a little bit on the higher side, but eventually we're gonna narrow it down once we continue doing our research. So we're gonna weed out the, well, undesirables, and we also want to check the stock price and see how it's doing. However, remember that no historic data guarantees future returns, but I would say it's safe to assume if the company has been doing pretty well for the past 10 to 20 years, or an ETF has been doing well for the past 10 to 20 years, it's probably going to continue to do so. So once we selected our dividend yield range, we're going to go over here to this table and we're going to click on Dividends tab. And here we have all the basic data that we need to start the research. We have the symbol, we have the ETF name, we have the annual dividend rate, which is how much a company pays per share in dividends. We have the dividend date, we have the frequency, so you can either see monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually, and we have the dividend yield. So normally you can just export it to CSV with ETF Database Pro, but since I'm a cheapskate and I don't have that subscription, I'm just gonna copy it just like this, and I'm gonna paste it into my Google Sheets right here. And as you can see, I've already pasted most of it. I went through all the, I believe it's like 10 pages. Yep, 10 pages. So you're gonna go through all the 10 pages and copy it onto your Google Sheets. And we have all this data right here. So once I exported this, for now, I'm not gonna look at the yield, because the first thing that I'm gonna look for is I want the ETF stock to appreciate over time. Because the fact that it pays me dividend is great, but also if I'm losing money on stock depreciation, then it's doing no good for me. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull the data for the last several years of returns and I'm gonna see how well the stock has been doing over the past, well, in my case, I choose 10-year return, 5-year return, and 2-year return, but it's totally up to you and based on your judgment. So I do this way, you can do the same. And by the way, I'm gonna leave the link to this spreadsheet down in the description below. So if you wanna check it out for yourself, or you wanna play with it yourself, you can just make a copy and do so. So please go ahead and check out the description below. So now that I pulled 10-year return, 5-year return, and 2-year return, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna filter, because I'm looking for something sustainable, and I'm gonna filter this column, 10-year return. So I'm gonna remove all the negative numbers from this column. So I removed all the negatives and I left only positives and blanks. And the reason I left blanks is because there might be some ETFs that are less than 10 years old, but still over 5 years old, that are still doing good. So I want to check them out later. That's why I left the blanks here. So after I did that, I'm gonna click OK. And now I want to filter the 5-year return. In this case, I'm gonna remove the negatives and the blanks, because I really don't want to look at something that's less than 5 years old, because I want to see how an ETF stock is doing over time, and less than 5 years for me is not a good indicator. But again, it doesn't indicate that in the future the company is not going to do well. It just means that you need to do some extra research on that, and that's not what we're doing here. So after I filtered it, the next column that I'm going to add is comments, and over here I'm going to go and click on this link over here that's going to take you back to etfdb.com, and it's going to take you straight to this ticker, which is SPHD in this case, and I'm gonna go to holdings, and I'm gonna see the top 15 holdings, and either I'm gonna check which sectors this ETF is investing into and write a short description in the comment section, or I'm gonna write down the biggest holdings if there are some big companies that the ETF is holding. So like in this case, I mentioned this, it has gas and energy companies, and here pharmaceutical and energy, and here I just mentioned that it's just blue chip stocks. It's totally up to you how you mark it down. It's just for you to see the bigger picture once you have this whole spreadsheet filled out. After that, what I do is I go to Google Finance, I take this ticker symbol, I paste it in the search, I take the max, so that way I can see the overall stock trend for that ETF. And after that, I just add it into this column, and it helps me visualize and visually see how a stock has been performing over the past several years since inception. So that's just a better way to compare the different ETF stocks. And what I'm looking for here is if the stock has been trending up, or at least not trending down. Like in this case with SPYD, we can see that the portfolio started in around 2015 and the stock has been trending up. But then we have some other stocks like TOLZ, and we can see that it's been up, but not that much for the same period of time. And that's how I usually visualize and compare the two ETF stocks. And based on that, I can already make some decisions and narrow down my search. I highlight what stands out for me, and after that, we're gonna continue with the research. And the next thing that I'm looking at is expense ratio. And the expense ratio is the ratio that shows the amount of operating expenses divided by the fund's assets. So in other words, operating expenses is all the costs associated with running the fund. This can vary from as low as 0.03% to all the way up to 1%, and that can make a significant difference. Let's say that you've been investing over time and now your portfolio is $1 million. If you pay 1% on that $1 million, that's going to be $10,000. But if you pay only 0.03%, it's going to be only $300 per year. So that's a significant difference, and for some people it's probably like 3 or 4 months of living expenses. And these expenses I'm gonna pull up also based on etfdb.com, and I already highlighted the ones that look attractive to me based on the stock price action and based on the dividend yield they're paying. And I'm also gonna look at the expense ratio, and I'm just gonna confirm that these look good. And after that, all I'm gonna do is filter by color. After that, I usually like to pull up the dividend data for the past several years. And yeah, we already have that data over here if we look at the actual dividend rate. But what I like to do is I like to pull up the dividend history and take the average of the last 3 years of dividend payouts. And what I look there for is if over the past several years the dividend has been increasing, and if it's the case, then I just take the average 3 years and I use that as my indicator of what's the actual dividend yield right now. So you can do that by actually going to taking the ticker symbol and just googling the ticker symbol and go into the company's website directly. So let's say if I want to go to SPYD, which is this one, I'm going to select that. I'm going to Google SPYD. I'm going to click on it, and that's from State Street. So over here you can find the dividend history over the past several years. So we're going to click ETF historical distributions. We're gonna search for SPYD, and all of them look a little bit different, but the principle is still the same. If you can't find something, then you can go directly to nasdaq.com, and over there they also have dividend history, which is pretty accurate, but I usually pull it up directly from the companies. So you can see the dividend history over the past several years, and you just copy this and you paste it into your Google Sheet. So in this case, I pasted it here and I pulled out the data for the past years, and I usually take the average over the last 3 years. As you can see, I didn't take 2022 because we're only half a year done. So I took 2021, 2020, and 2019. And that one goes right here, and it showed me the actual average dividend paid out in the last 3 years. After that, this is the current price that always gets updated, and it always gets updated because it's being pulled from Google Finance. So I'm gonna divide the actual average dividend in the last 3 years by the current price, and that's gonna tell me my current dividend yield. And as you can see, it's pretty close to what we pulled from the ETFDB, but it's a little bit, some of them are a little bit different, but pretty much the same. But I just like it to pull it myself based on the recent data because it's a little bit more accurate, and you can also see the historic dividend payout. And with this list already, you're gonna be pretty good if you invest into any of this, but you can still narrow it down. You can take a closer look at the stock price over time, you can take a look at the dividend yields and expense ratios and make your decisions and pick a couple of them that you're gonna put your money into. And usually what I do, if I see that they have approximately the same companies in their portfolio, then I look at the stock price action and I look at the expense ratio and the dividend yield, of course. You can also choose to diversify. Like out of these 15 that I have, 4 of them are energy sector that pretty much hold the same stocks. So at this point, I'm just gonna look at the higher yield, better price action on the stock price and lower expense ratio. And that's how I do my dividend ETF research. And please remember that this market crash might make millionaires, so you gotta be prepared with your cash and with your research. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna leave the link to this spreadsheet down in the description below so you can go ahead and check it out on your own and maybe make a copy of it and change some numbers and play with it based on your own criteria. Hit the like button to help YouTube algorithm. That would help me out a lot and would help out to push this video to more people that might be helpful for them. And hit the notification bell to get notified next time a new video comes out. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about my favorite ETFs, the one that I chose based on my research. And if you want to see more stuff like this, please subscribe to my channel down below, and I'll see you all in the next one.